Hi there, my name is Aaron Lanchman. I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Georgia Tech, and the first assignment in my GPU programming for a video games class that involves Unity involves making some modifications of this IntroShaders package that I made. Now, some of my students have been having trouble with this, I think just because they're not used to Unity, so I thought I would make this video showing how to load in the package, copy one of the materials, and then copy the associated shader and reassign things. I've started a blank 3D project, and you should always go to Edit, Project Settings, go down to where it says Player, and switch the color space from gamma to linear. Unity, you really need to fix this. I shouldn't have to constantly do that. Okay, I'm going to take the IntroShaders package and I'm going to drag it on top of the assets folder, and it's going to ask me, hey, do you want to import all of this stuff? And yes, I do. Okay, let's load one of the demo scenes. How about the NormalMap scene? So let's zoom in here, see what we have going on. I've got some swords and shields, and let's see. On the left here, I have one of the shaders. What shader do I actually have here? Okay, so this is the textured pixel lid shader that's on the left. And then here, what do we have here? That's the texture pixel lid shader. Okay, and what about here? Okay, so that's the textured NormalMap shader. And on the right, we have the textured NormalMap shader. And if I play this here, then we can see the light going back and forth. There we go. The light has to be pretty close for that to show up. Okay, so let me demonstrate what you might want to do in practice. I'm actually going to delete these objects here and recreate them. So I'm going to take these two objects. I'm going to go up here and say duplicate. All right. And now I should be able to drag both of those to the left. So I'm going to call this one my new shield. And I'll call this one new sword. All right. And now I'm going to create new materials for this, because if I change one of the materials over here, let's say I were to get rid of the albedo map there, the diffuse map. Well, notice both of those changed, because these both use the same material. All right, so what material is being used here? It's this matte SHTNM and matte sword TMP, whatever that means. I could go ahead and change the shader here on this particular material. But if I want to be able to compare things, what I might want to do is actually create a new material. Now, I don't have to, but it's convenient because then I have a point of reference for whatever the original shader is doing. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say matte SH, TNM. All right, I'm going to click on that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that material. So I duplicate the material, and here, this new material here, actually I'm going to take this in the lower right here and slide it so I can get the full thing. I'm going to call this new matte shield NMN. Okay. And what was this? Okay, this one was called matte sword TMP, matte SW TMP. Again, you don't have to do this. You could just go ahead and change the shader on the original material, but let me show you how to make a new one. All right, so I'm going to say new. Oh, wait, sorry. I meant to duplicate it first. All right, so I duplicated it, and I'll call this new. All right. Now, what I can do is say, let's find those new materials I made. I'm going to drag the new shield material onto this object to assign it. And now I'm going to drag the new sword material onto the sword to assign it. And now when I look here, I'll see the new material assigned for the shield and a new material assigned for the sword. Okay, so I can click on the material here and take a look at what's being used. Unfortunately, I don't know how to have this easily expanded. If anyone knows a way to click on this and have it show the full length of the title here, that would be really convenient. Let me know in the comments below. I usually just hit edit to actually pull up what the file is to see. Okay, it's using GPU NormalMap.shader. All right, so that's the shader that I want to modify. Now, you could do the assignment potentially by actually just modifying this directly, but it's always good to be able to go back to the older version and see what's going on, especially if your new version messes up in some way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new one here. Let's call it GPU 20 weirdness, because I'm just going to have it do something weird. GPU 20. All right. One thing I want to emphasize is that in terms of what shows up in that drop-down menu for a material, so I can either click on the material directly down here in the Assets folder or click on an object using that material and find it here. The thing that shows up in the drop-down menu, all of this stuff here, this is stuff that is found according to a string in the shader files. It doesn't look at the file name. And in fact, the reason you see 2 textured normal map instances here is because the new weirdness shader that I made still has textured normal map at the top of the file. So let's call this just weirdness. All right, so now when I save that, I should be able to switch this to using the weirdness shader. So I'm going to say GPU 20. Oh, it's down at the bottom of the screen. Just trust me. Oh, actually, let me do this. I can make this go up here like this, and then, no, that's not going to do what I want. Oh, wait a minute. I can change the window focus. One moment. Let's put this back here. Okay, now I should be able to click here and go to GPU 20. There's the weirdness shader. And let's also change the sword here to use the weirdness shader. Again, it looks for the string at the top of the file there. All right, let me put my focus back. Okay, so let's take a look here. Here is my weirdness shader, and let's edit that. So I could either click edit here, or I could actually go look up the weirdness shader here and double click on it here. Either way, it should pull up my Visual Studio Code or whatever editor you like to use, and we can start messing around with it. So how about, I don't know, let's put in a new color, and maybe what we'll do is we'll have it fade over time to this color. So how about let's call this the fade color, and we'll call it fade color like this in the inspector. And it's color, so we'll put comma color. And how about a default? How about red? Yeah, how about something like that? All right, so now we need to also declare that in the variable list in the HLSL code itself. So that's a color, so we'll make that a float 4. And what did I call it? I just forgot what I called it. Underscore fade color. Okay, so there's our color. And what should we do down here? Okay, how about the base color? What we'll do is instead of the base color as it is, what we'll do is we'll take the texture that's coming in, and how about let's, wait, it's already a float 4, so I don't need to do that. Okay, this is a bit semantically confusing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to let a new base be whatever the base we have from the texture is, and I'm going to fade it with the fade color. Let's see, the fade color. Yeah, underscore fade color. Yeah, sure. And what should we do? Let's do something like fade according to the sign of, I don't know, how about underscore time dot x, I think, something like that. And let's see, so sign is going to be between -1 and 1. So let's add 1 to it, and then divide by 2, something like that. This will probably get compiled to a times 0.5. And I think something like that. I need parentheses here. All right. Something like that. Maybe time is progressing too slowly. How about I multiply this by 100? See what that does? All right. Oh, there it goes. You can see it changing from red to the original color. Actually, that would be easier to see if we turn off the script that's moving the light. Oh, notice when I move the light here, it updates time in the scene view. That's fun, but only when I'm changing something. Or maybe when I'm showing the cursor over it. That's weird. It's like time freezes if I don't move, but when I move, time keeps going. That's interesting. All right, so I'm going to press play here. Now you can see the sword and the shield on the left are pulsing red. That's kind of cool. And I should be able to go over to, say, the new shield here and change that color. So here it's now pulsing green. Now it's pulsing purple. What about the sword here? The sword is a different material with a different texture, so I should be able to change it to, say, pulsing purple. No, that's still the shield. I need to click on the sword. All right, there's the sword. All right, so the sword, let's change the sword to blue. All right, so now the shield is pulsing purple and the sword is pulsing blue.